My name is Clara. I am 27 years old. I work as a nurse at Hope Hospital in Dallas. My job is very difficult. Sometimes I work in the day. Sometimes I work at night. The shifts are long. My back and my head always hurts. But still, I like my job because I care for sick people. I live alone in my small apartment, but after my shifts, I often go to my mother's house. My mother is old. She cannot do much by herself anymore. I clean her house. I cook for her. In the evenings, we sit together, we eat dinner, we drink tea, we talk about our day. She is my peace after long hours in the hospital. 1 year ago, everything changed in my life. A little girl was brought into my care. She was very small, maybe 9 years old. She had been in a very bad car accident. She was in a coma. She could not speak. She just lay in the hospital bed, quiet, with all the machines around her. Her family came every day, but the one who came the most was her older brother. He was always there. He would sit by her bed. He would talk to her, even though she could not answer. He would tell her stories, hold her hand, brush her hair. He believed she could hear him, and maybe she did. Whenever I had to check on the little girl, I saw him. I saw how gentle he was with his sister, how much he cared. He respected my work. He always said thank you every time I entered the room. His name was Jack. Jack was not loud. He was quiet, but his eyes were very kind. That was the first thing I noticed. His eyes were full of patience, sadness, and hope at the same time. Sometimes Jack would bring me homemade sandwiches. He said his mother made them, and she always made too many. At first, I said no, but he insisted, and one day I accepted. They were simple sandwiches, but they tasted good. Eating with him felt different from eating alone in the hospital cafeteria. Sometimes he would bring coffee too. He said nurses needed coffee more than anyone else. I laughed when he said that because it was true. In the hospital, many people are good, but not all are kind. Some are too busy. Some are rude. Some are angry at their own pain. Jack was different. He was always calm. He respected my work. He respected me. Little by little, we began to talk more. At first, we only spoke about his sister. He asked what medicines she was given, what the doctors said, what the chances were. I told him everything I could. I was honest, but gentle. He always listened carefully. Then we began to talk about other things, about the hospital food, about the weather, about small things in life. He told me about his family. His father had passed away years ago. His mother worked from home and took care of everything. He was the oldest, and he felt it was his duty to stay strong for his sister. I told him about my mother, about my small apartment, about the night shifts. He listened. He didn't just hear me, he listened. That made me feel seen. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Every time I saw Jack, I felt lighter. My work was still tiring. My back still hurt. My head still hurt. But when I saw him, I forgot about the pain for a while. One night I came into the little girl's room, and Jack was asleep on the chair beside her bed. He was holding her hand, his head resting on the side of the bed. The sight made me pause. It was so tender, so full of love. That night I brought him a blanket from the nurse's station. I placed it on his shoulders quietly. He woke up and looked at me. For a moment, we just looked at each other. His eyes were tired, but he smiled. "Thank you," he whispered. That was the night I realized my heart was no longer my own. Months passed. Slowly, the little girl began to show signs of waking. Small movements at first, a twitch of the fingers, a small sound. Then one day, she opened her eyes. It was a miracle. Jack cried when it happened. He held her hand tightly and called for the doctor. He looked at me with tears in his eyes, and I smiled. It was the happiest day for him, for all of us. The little girl began to recover. It was slow, but she was strong. Jack was always there for her, and so was I. By now, Jack and I spoke every day, sometimes in the hospital, sometimes in the small cafe across the street. He told me about his dreams, about how he wanted to start his own small business, and how he wanted to give his sister a good life after all the pain she had been through. I told him about my life too, about my fears, about how I was tired of being alone, about how my mother was my only family, and I worried about the day I might lose her. He understood me. He never judged. He never interrupted. He just listened, and that made me feel safe. One evening after my shift, Jack was waiting for me outside the hospital. He had 2 cups of coffee in his hands. He handed me one. "I don't know what the future will bring," he said, "but I do know this. I want you to be a part of it." I didn't know what to say. My heart was beating so fast. For a moment, I just stood there, holding the cup, staring at him. And then I smiled. That was the moment I knew. Life is not easy. My job is still hard. My back and my head still hurts. But now, when I drink my coffee, I think of Jack. When I go home, I tell my mother about him. She smiles when she hears his name. Hope Hospital gave me many memories, some painful, some beautiful, but the most unexpected gift it gave me was Jack. Because sometimes love finds us in the most difficult places, and when it does, it heals more than we ever thought possible.